the Pandavas. In our current section, which is 21 to 27, Krishna as the Bhakta Vatsala. So we'll continue reading today's verse, text 23 today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yotsamanan aveksheham ya etetra samagataha dhratarashtrasya durbuddhe yuddhe priya chikirsavaha. Let me see those who have come here to fight, wishing to please the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra. Purport. Let's see who can read the purport. Okay, we got Chetana. Chetana. Oh, sorry, somebody mentioned something.
Oh no, I just said may I.
Okay, who spoke? I can.
That's Manjiri.
Okay, Manjiri, please, Manjiri Mataji, if you can read this, please.
Yeah, it was an open secret that Duryodhana wanted to usurp the kingdom of the Pandava by evil plans in collaboration with his father Dhritarashtra. Therefore, all persons who had joined the side of Duryodhana must have been birds of the same feather. Arjuna wanted to see them on the battlefield before the fight was begun, just to learn who they were, but he had no intention of proposing peace negotiations with them. It was also a fact that he wanted to see them to make an estimate of the strength which he had to face, although he was quite confident of victory because Krishna was sitting by his side. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Manjiri Mataji. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadakikam. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charu Swami Niti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashyata Devshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. So, short purport again. Quite a nice short verse, quite self-explanatory. So we'll try and explore the purport a little bit more, as we always do. So let me just go to the next screen. Okay. So here, okay, we should do the that's better. All right. So, Dhritarashtra, that's the son of Dhritarashtra. The important word, Durbuddhe. Durbuddhe means evil-minded. Evil-minded. Durbuddhe also can mean one whose intelligence has been misdirected. That's sort of important words in the purport here. Moving on to the, so that was important words in the text rather. Purport, moving on to the purport. Purport is saying it was an open secret that Duryodhana wanted to usurp the kingdom of the Pandavas by evil plans in collaboration with his father, Dhritarashtra. So this was, of course, we can look at the history a little bit here, because how this rivalry started. It goes all the way back to when King Pandu, with his two wives, was in the forest. They were out for a retreat, and he unfortunately happens to kill Rishi Kingdom. And as you all know the story, we will repeat it quickly. The Rishi, he had taken a vow that he would never be naked in front of any other personality. So whenever he wanted to be intimate with his wife, so he would actually, with his mystic powers, he would change his body and his wife's body into the body of deities. And this is how he had. So then when Pandava, Pandu, when he was, because the Kshatriyas are always practicing, they always want to hone in their skills. So they always, wherever they are, they're practicing their fighting skills. So he shot an arrow which went through this deer. And as soon as the arrow hit the deer, he heard a human sound, a human cry. So he quickly rushed, and of course, the forms had changed to Kingdom Muni and his wife, and the arrow had actually gone through both of them. And in the dying moments, Kingdom Muni cursed Madhava, that just as, Pandu rather, that just as as you killed me whilst I was being intimate with my wife, whenever you try and be intimate to your wife from now on, you will die. So that was a curse. And then, of course, Pandu regretted it very much. And then he was really concerned, because at that time he did not have any children. And for Kshatriyas, it's very, very important for them to have progeny, especially sons, because the sons then carry on their legacy and the parampara, like the dynasty. So then at that time, Kunti then explained to him that Kunti had a boon long time ago from Durvasa Muni, when Kunti had pleased Durvasa Muni by serving him very well. When Durvasa Muni had come to visit her foster father's home, Kunti Bhoja's home. And Durvasa Muni had given her the boon that she can actually call upon any demigod, and the demigod would bless her to have a child. So then Pandu was very relieved, and then they arranged one after the other to have the 5 Pandavas. So let's just go through the 5 Pandavas, the persons. So first was Yudhishthira Maharaj, and he was the son of Yamaraj. Who was the next one? Anybody?
Bhima, Prabhu.
Bhima, and son of?
Vingod.
Vingod, Vayudev, Lord Vayudev, yes.
Vayu.
And who was next?
Arjuna.
Son of?
Indra.
Yeah, very good. And who was next?
Nakula and Sahadeva.
Yeah, Nakula and Sahadeva. And who were their fathers?
Ashwini Kumar.
Ashwini Kumar, absolutely. And who was the mother of Nakula and Sahadeva?
Madri.
Yeah. This is basic Mahabharata knowledge that we all have, but it's always nice to repeat and understand it. So yes, so this was, so now in the meantime, what had happened was, back in the palace, Dhritarashtra, as we know, Dhritarashtra couldn't become a king because he was blind, and he always regretted that, and he blamed Providence for that. But he always had the hope that, okay, I never became king, but at least I am the eldest in the family. So when I have a son, my son will automatically become king. So at least I can, have that satisfaction that my son is going to be a king. And was Gandhari. Gandhari was actually pregnant at that time. So he was very hopeful that, of course, very soon there will be a son. And Gandhari, as we all know, she had a boon to have 100 children. But she was pregnant for apparently a long time. There's some figures say 2 years, some say more. But she just was pregnant, and the delivery just didn't happen. And in the meantime, news came that the Pandavas, the King Pandu, has now got 5 sons. So in frustration, because Gandhari knew how upsetting this news would be for her husband. In frustration, then Gandhari hits her stomach. And it is said that she delivered a lump of flesh, a huge lump of flesh. And they were going to just discard it. But then Vyasadeva, who had given them the boon, says, no, don't do that. Just cut them into 100 pieces and place them into pots of ghee. And after a while, these from these pots, the 100 sons, well, there were 100 sons and I think 1 daughter. Or was it not? Yeah, 100 sons and 1 daughter appeared. And when Duryodhana appeared, they all appeared, of course, one after the other. But when Duryodhana appeared, there were some very, very bad omens. You know, they were saying that it was raining pus and blood. The animals were crying, and all those signs were there. It's described very, very vividly in the Mahabharata, also in the Bhagavatam. And then at that time, Vidura was very, very knowledgeable, very wise. He recognized these signs, and he actually said to Dhritarashtra that, this son of yours, because of these bad omens, I know that he's going to be a kulangara. A kulangara. Anybody know what that word means, kulangara?
Not
Destroyer of the dynasty.
Yes, destroyer of the dynasty. Kula means dynasty. Kula, we can have a kula. So kula. And Angara refers to, actually, literally it means burning coal. Burning coal. So the broader meaning was that, yes, this child is going to destroy our dynasty. So you better just be very careful. Either you get rid of him or just make sure that he's in total control. Of course, Dhritarashtra wouldn't get rid of him. His son, who was their eldest son. And of course, the rest is history, as we know. So Dhritarashtra was always very, very envious of the Pandavas. Pandavas were very pious children. And as they were going, they were being trained up by Drona, who was training the Kauravas as well as Pandavas. And incidentally, at that time, they were both called Kauravas. There was no distinction. It was Kauravas. The dynasty of King Kuru, because Pandu and Dhritarashtra, both of them were Kauravas. So their children were also Kauravas. So the Kauravas were all being taught by Dronacharya. And because the Pandavas were very pious, sorry, I forgot to click on my screen to show the pictures, but these are the children being born. Sorry about that. But because the Pandavas was very, very clever and also very well-behaved and everything. So they were, I know in school, if there was one pupil or 1 or 2 pupils who were the favorites of the teacher, then the rest of the class would be envious of them. And sometimes they would actually end up being bullied as well. So this was a similar situation because they were so pious and they were so much liked by their teachers. The Duryodhana was always envious of them. And we know he did so many things. So let's maybe look at all the acts that he did. Anybody recognize what's happening here?
Is it Bhima being thrown in there?
Yes, Bhima, exactly. So one time they were playing and Duryodhana made a big scheme. He knew that Bhima likes his food. So he invited Bhima for some sweet rice. And he poisoned the sweet rice. And when Bhima was sort of dead, so to speak, he threw him in the river. And in this picture, he's going right at the bottom of the river. And he goes to the Netherlands and to the nether region, rather. And there he has been bitten by the snakes. And of course, we know the story. The snake bites they sort of counteract the poison, and then he meets Vasuki, the king of the snakes, and he gets the beverage. What is it called? It's not somaras, but some powerful nectar, and he becomes even more powerful than he was before. So this is that. But yeah, this was the act of Duryodhana throwing him, thinking he's dead. What's going on here? This picture.
Lakshagre.
Yes, Lakshagre, exactly. Thank you. Lakshagre. So they father and son made a plan, made this house of lac, and sent the Pandavas there, and they arranged to set them on and set the whole place on fire and kill them. But of course, Vidura could understand the plan, and he had actually pre-warned the Pandavas, and they escaped through a tunnel. And then, of course, later on, you got this situation where Draupadi, you can see how badly they were. Okay, then the picture is Dusashan, who is actually pulling the sari, but it was all done under the instruction, under the supervision of Duryodhana. And Duryodhana actually at one point indicated his thigh, saying, "Come and sit on me now. You're my property. Sit on my lap," kind of thing. You know. So this is the kind of things he did, and it is in the Shastra. There's an injunction saying that these are the kind of the 6 kind of aggressors. The Shastra says that you can kill without incurring any sin. So when we go through this list, you will see that Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, they did all of these things, not just one. You know, the Shastra says that anyone does one of these things, he is liable to be killed. But they did all 6. Now, we all know, right, from Shastra, these 6? Anybody can name them?
Poison.
Say again?
If you poison someone?
Poison, yes. So one who actually gives poison to someone. So we know Bhima was poisoned.
Someone sets fire to your house?
I couldn't hear it.
Someone sets fire to your house?
1 second, let me put my volume up.
But the one who sets fire to the house.
Okay, fire, yes, exactly. That's, I can see here, 2 things, yes, set fire to the house.
And then one
Also,
who plunders riches.
somebody else's wife.
One who plunders riches.
That comes, yes, that comes also. So here is someone who attacks with deadly weapons, which he did. Then one who plunders riches.
Yeah. And then one who kidnaps a wife.
Exactly, who occupies another's land. Because this land never belonged to them. They were supposed to be the land of Pandavas. Pandavas was supposed to rule with Yudhishthira, but they occupy the land forcefully, and then of course kidnapping somebody's wife, right? So these offenses, these aggressions they perform. So Duryodhana definitely deserved to be killed. Now, moving on to the purport, back to the purport, say Arjuna wanted to see them on the battlefield before the fight was begun, just to learn who they were. But he had no intention of proposing peace negotiations with them. So see, at this stage, Arjuna is still very, very fired up. He's still angry, and he wants to continue the fight. But before the fight, he wanted to see who was there. He was first of all, he was quite surprised that so many kings came to support Duryodhana, because Duryodhana is such an evil person. And how come so many people came to support him? But you can see actually that although Duryodhana was so evil, he was also an expert in modern terms, we've called a spin doctor, right? He actually was able to convince all these people that he was the innocent victim and that the Pandavas were the aggressors. With his sweet talk and with his diplomacy, he did all that. So some of them supported him because he was in power and they were scared of him. Others supported him because they were all equally evil, and they wanted to have him as the king so that they can continue doing their evil deeds without being hampered. Prabhupada uses the phrase in the purport, doesn't he? He says, birds of the same feather. So like this. But the armies were huge. You can see in the army, there were 18 Akshahinis. And how many Kauravas, how many Pandavas, Akshahinis?
Kauravas had 11?
11 and 7, yes, 11 and 7. So 11 Akshauhinis. So they were outnumbering the Pandavas by far. But still, as we know from this purport, Arjuna was confident of his victory. Just quickly, we'll run through this composition of the Akshauhini. Akshauhini is a huge like battalion. So each Akshauhini, there's 18 Akshauhinis on this battlefield, right? That's why you can see this picture, this drawing, rather, this painting, rather. They're like little ants that go for miles, right? So each Akshauhini unit has got 21,870 chariots. Then the same number of elephants, 65,610 cavalry, 109,350 infantry. So, one second, go back.
Hello, Karina. Thank you.
Yeah. So, yeah, this is how huge this war was. Imagine the 18 times all this was the population of that battlefield. So, continuing the purport, Prabhupada says it was also a fact that he wanted to see them to make an estimation of the strength which he had to face. Although he was quite confident of victory because Krishna was sitting by his side. So yes, as we said, he wanted this, and it's a good thing to do when you are in battle. Whenever you are in battle with somebody, you need to understand the strength of the opposition, so you can plan your tactics accordingly. That applies even in business. You know, whenever you enter into a market, you first go and check out the competition. You find out what the size of the market is. You find out who the big players are. You find out what the weaknesses and the strengths are, and then you plan your products accordingly. You plan your entry. You plan your the advertising campaign, everything accordingly. So that was one reason we wanted to go and see them. But actually, indirectly, the other reason why he did was Krishna arranged it so that he would actually do this. So that Krishna, he could have, there was in this Sachi, we saw the picture, there's such a lot of space. He could have taken that chariot anywhere, but he took it right in front of the teachers and the grandfather of Arjuna. You know, Bhishma and Drona and Kripacharya and all that. So that Arjuna would then be confused. And as we know from history, yes, that's exactly what happened. But here, before we get to that, here it says it was quite confident because Krishna was sitting by his side, right? Imagine the kind of confidence you would have if Krishna was sitting with us. We could just do anything, right? So Arjuna had Krishna there. So regardless of the fact that the army was smaller, it didn't matter. Krishna was on their side. So he had that confidence. So this is a key point. I mean, in terms of, you know, all these verses in the Bhagavad Gita, they all give us some lessons. And the lessons that I take, of course, other people can take very different, deeper lessons from here. Lessons I take from here is lessons for us. That just as Arjuna was confident of his victory, similarly, we should be also confident of our success or spiritual path. We shouldn't worry about our material life. That will happen, go on as it is meant to. But at least our spiritual life, we should be confident that it will be successful because Krishna is sitting with us also, just as Krishna is sitting here on the chariot with Arjuna. Krishna is sitting on the chariot of our body, within our heart. It is explained in the 13th chapter 23. We just recently read that, right? Upadrastanu mantacha bharta bhokta maheshvaraha paramatmeti chapyukto dehesmin purusha paraha. Yet in this body, there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as a super soul. So we all have the Lord sitting within our heart. And in this picture, the writing is very small, but it says, this is actually the translation for a later verse, I think 13, 29 or 28, something like that, where Krishna is saying, one who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually sees. So to extend this further, Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Instruction confirms this in the very famous verse, the third verse of the Nectar of Instruction. Anybody know this? Bhakti Shastri people? Verse 3 of Nectar of Instruction. Utsahan nishya dharya tat karma pravartanat sangatyagat vritte saddhir bhaktir prasiddhati. So here, these are three. There are 6 principles favorable to execution of pure devotional service. Being enthusiastic, endeavoring with confidence, being patient, acting in accordance to regulated principles such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna, abandoning the association of non-devotees, and following in the footsteps of previous acharyas. These 6 principles undoubtedly assure the complete success of pure devotional service. So the Lord is sitting within our heart, as we discussed, and as long as we follow these rules and regulations, here it says, acting in accordance to the regular principles, then this gives us complete success in our devotional service. So the Lord sitting on our heart will protect our spiritual path. Materially also, if he wishes, he can protect our material situation as well. But with devotees, we don't care so much about that. We care about our spiritual life, and we know the Lord sitting on our heart. We must now be sure, all of us, that he protects. So how can we get confidence in the Lord will protect me? So this is explained by Sanatana Goswami in the Hari Bhakti Bilasa, where he speaks about the 6 limbs of Saranagati. Again, everybody I'm sure knows this. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshisyat iti vishvaso gopritve varanam tatha atma nikshepa karpaniye sat vidya sharanagati. So accepting everything favorable to devotional service to Krishna, rejecting everything unfavorable for devotional service to Krishna, being confident that Krishna will grant his protection, embracing Krishna's guardianship, fully offering oneself to Krishna, and realizing one's lamentable lowliness are the 6 limbs of Saranagati. It's very, very important. We accept everything that is favorable and reject everything that is not. So we always are making decisions during the day, 13,000 decisions a day. But every decision, we must always keep this in mind. Is this favorable for my devotional service or not? And make your decision like that. And then being very confident that Krishna, this is the point. Be confident that Krishna will grant you. He's sitting with you. He is going to give you protection. There is no doubt about that. Embrace his guardianship. He is our only savior. And then offer one's very self. So we must offer our complete existence to Krishna. Prabhupada, Bhakti-Charu Maharaj says that in the very early days, he said to, Prabhupada said to him that you've been coming and going in this world for so many millions of lifetimes and so many different yonis, and you will always try to do the things that you're doing now, trying to enjoy, but you never succeeded. Try now at least this one lifetime. Give this lifetime to Krishna and see what happens. So we must give our life to Krishna for our, and realizing our lamentables, realizing how much, no matter how powerful we may be in terms of material things, you may be very learned, you may be very strong, you may be very rich, very powerful. All that means nothing. Everything ends with this body. It's all nothing. So we must realize that spiritually we are very, very low. We need Krishna's help to take us through, take us across this ocean of material nature. Examples of devotees who are confident of the Lord's protection I'm sure people recognize this picture. Who's that?
Prahlad.
Exactly. So Prahlad Maharaj, this is the end, how the Lord is patting on his head so nicely. So he so many different ways that his father tried to get him killed, but the Lord gave him protection all the way. And then this picture. So this is Vritrasura. So in the 6th chapter of Bhagavatam, it's a story of Vritrasura, where Vritrasura got, because of a curse. What was Vritrasura's? What was he before? He was Vritrasura.
Chitraketu.
Exactly. King Chitraketu, he got cursed by Parvati. Long story, we cut it short, and he became an asura. He became a demon. But even as a demon, he was still a devotee, and he maintained that. And the story goes that he was fighting Indra, and Indra realized how powerful he was, and he went to, I believe it was Brahma, and Brahma said that you go and approach Dadichi. Dadichi, he was a very powerful saint, and because of his powerful austerity and because of the Narayan Kavach that he was chanting regularly all the time, his bones had become very, very strong. So they were told that if Dadichi gives you his bones, you can make a Vajra out of that. And that is the only one that can defeat Vritrasura. So Vritrasura was fighting Indra all the time, knowing that Indra has got this weapon from the Dadichi's bones, which will be. Oh, by the way, and Dadichi also, we can take the example. Dadichi also, when he was asked for the bones, imagine if somebody coming to us and say, "Can I have your life, please? Can I have your body? I want, to fight somebody else." We would say, "Get lost." But here, Dadichi, knowing the bigger picture, he was thinking, okay, if my body can come in to use for devotees of the Lord, and of course the demigods are devotees of the Lord, then it's the best use. And anyway, my soul is not destroyable. So he had that faith in Krishna, right? So that he just was able to so easily give up his body. But then coming back to Vritrasura, Vritrasura also had complete faith that yes, I have to do this because this was my curse, but doesn't matter. In the end, he's urging Indra, please kill me. He wants to get rid of this life because he's so confident that his soul is protected by the Lord. So yeah, and while I was also preparing something else, I just thought of once I heard somebody mention about Abraham Lincoln. So during the Civil War in the USA, there's one time they had an important strategic meeting planning for the next move and all that. And then towards the end of the meeting, one of his ministers or senators, I suppose in USA, he said, "Mr. President, let us pray that God is on our side." And Lincoln, of course, you can see how is spiritually quite deep. He said, "No, gentlemen, let us pray that we are on God's side." So you see, if you are God, you can pray for God to be on your side, and then God will be on your side, on our side, depending on what kind of karma we're doing. If we are doing karma which are in line with the Shastra, then God will be with us. But of course, if we are not, then God will not be with us. So the best prayer is that let us pray that we are on God's side. God give us the intelligence to keep us on your side. So I will end here. Just one more slide, actually, where somebody just called. We were doing this. I was preparing for this, and somebody just today sent me this WhatsApp forward. It says Prabhupada has written to Ananda in San Francisco on the 3rd of April, 1969. It says, "Don't feel yourself to be alone, because Krishna is always with you. Krishna is always with every living entity as super soul. And to his devotees, especially, he talks and gives instructions how to attain the perfectional stage of meeting him." Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.
Wonderful. That's really nice. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will end here. And what I'll do is I will just quickly remind everybody before we go to questions about the Bhadra campaign, the 125th anniversary this year. All we want right now is put your name on that list. to commit yourself to distributing just one set minimum. So please do that if you haven't done already. And now I will open for any comments, realizations, corrections. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mukunda-Hari Prabhu, wonderful class. Very, very nice. Very informative. Thank you very much. Just a quick question. How many people have registered for the Bhagavatam so far?
The last, the latest number, I don't know, but the last time I was on a call, which is about a week ago, there was only 52 or 54, I think. That the numbers were quite low. So we need to ramp that up as early as possible.
Also, what I think in my thought, I was just thinking, last year how we worked together to get, as many as possible.
Yeah.
Maybe in our Sangha group, some people may not be able to afford so much, because not everybody's financial situation. Maybe as a Sangha, maybe some people get together, maybe whatever amount people can contribute, they could make it as a set or 2 sets or something. Everybody could contribute something and put it as a set for the Sangha or mentee group or something. I just thought like that. So.
I think that's good. Yeah, it's a very nice plan actually. Just very good thought, Parika Mataji. That's we can actually also explain this in our presentations next time. That you right, if singly you think that it's going to be too much, then the whole Sangha can say, okay, as a Sangha we will do this. Which obviously will be very, very easy for all Sangha to do one set, Yeah. And this time, when I'm presenting to people, whether it's going to be for mentors or whatever, I'm saying, look, we've got so much time now. We don't want to rush. Don't rush and just sponsor it. Try and distribute it, because really, if you distribute it, then somebody actually, that somebody's going to get it there. I mean, of course, when you sponsor it, somebody will get it. But an institution will go in a library or something, and of course, it'll be used. But if you're actually able to give it to a friend or a family, then it's much better like that, So just try like that. Let's see what happens.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I've got some books to donate, and I don't know how to do that.
Okay, so
or I can one thing I can do is just put them in the box and send them to temple with the Kriya service. Can I do
that? What books are they?
All Prabhupada's books.
No, not Bhagavatam, just different, all different books.
Just need Bhagavatam.
Yeah. So you could, of course, you could do that, but the other thing that you could do is, why don't you just give them to your friends and family rather than give them back to the temple? That way.
Prabhuji, my relatives, they are all, Durga Bhakta.
Okay. Yeah.
It's only just me, my family. And we got enough books all the time, we collecting books. Wherever we see devotee, we runs to that. If we were in London, we runs and take a book and give donation every time. So we got so many books.
Yeah.
But what I do, I got on internet, because I can't read much on the books. And I've got on my iPad, So I am asking if I can donate to temple that will be used. They are all Prabhupada's books.
Sure. So I'm not quite sure about what the temple is doing with that, but perhaps you can just ring them and find out if what they can do, how you can return them.
Okay. Yeah? So I'll ask, I'll ring the temple. Okay.
Thank you, Nata Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Going back to the today's text and purport, any thoughts on that? Anybody?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hema Mataji.
Wonderful, nourishing class, Prabhuji. But I just wanted to clarify some points in my head. So, in addition to Saranagati and requesting the Lord to protect our spiritual journey and to remove impediments in our journey, I thought that there was, the flag on the Lord's feet, lotus feet. There is a flag mark.
Yes.
And I remember someone mentioning that if you meditate on the flag, then that kind of adds to your spiritual journey getting better. Is that correct, my understanding?
Sorry, Rika, I just missed one or two words there. Can you repeat that again, please?
Yeah, in addition to the things that you've identified, Sharanagati and asking for protection and removing impediments, if you meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, particularly the flag,
okay,
then that is a victory. It's a flag of victory.
Okay.
And that ensures spiritually you will achieve some form of victory. Is that understanding correct, Prabhuji?
So actually, to be very honest, I haven't heard that particular side. It sounds very nice, actually. It sounds very plausible. But the fact is that if you're meditating on the feet of the Lord, we're already there. I mean, the point is just the fact that you are meditating on the feet of the Lord. And this is like what you're pointing out is even amazing. It's even more deeper. But actually, well, I would say just if you can get your mind to meditate just on the feet of the Lord.
On just the lotus.
It's just more than enough. But thank you for sharing that.
No, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Paru Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. No, I was wondering, the Mataji who spoke earlier about donating the books.
Yes.
Because my daughter, Veera, she's been searching for Surrender by Bhakti Tirth Swami, and we didn't get it in Mumbai as well. Does she have that book? Does she have that book? So, I don't know who the Mataji's name.
Kanta Mataji. Kanta Mataji, perhaps what you can do, Kanta Mataji, if you can put your phone number on the chat, then Paru Mataji can get in touch with you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My humble service to you. Hare Krishna. The class was wonderful. It was very insightful. My thing is not related to the class. I just wanted to, yesterday Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu was saying that I think Sandeep Prabhu was not well or something. I saw Sandeep Prabhu's son, I think, in the group today. So I just wanted to ask how he is.
Hi. I'm Sandeep Prabhu's son.
Oh, hello. Hare Krishna. How is your father?
Oh, he's good. He's back at home. He's just lying down here. He's
okay, good to hear.
Okay, good to hear that. Nothing serious, I hope.
No, it's all fine. He'll be back to his old.
Okay,
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Hare Krishna.
We will continue praying for his full recovery.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. There's a message here from Narmata Kiri Mataji. It says, can you please share that information again? So what was that?
Sorry, Prabhuji, I think you mentioned about was it about the book and about the program? I just didn't understood, and my fault. I joined a bit late today.
Yeah, so it's no problem. We were speaking about the book distribution, about the Bhadra campaign. Let me just share that again so that you can see that. 1 second. Share screen. So every year, there's Bhadra Purnima in September. And it is said that for the Bhadra Purnima, if you gift a set of Bhagavatam or if you invite a set of Bhagavatam to your home, it is very, very pious. You get amazing amount of spiritual credit for doing that. Actually, it is mentioned in one verse that whoever does that, their place in the spiritual world is reserved like that. So every year we do this, and this year what we're trying to do is we between now and the 15th of September, we are just asking people to just put their name on this list, and here on this leaflet you can see where to register. You just put your name down, just make a commitment. Right now you don't have to give any money or do anything else. Just make a commitment that I will distribute one set between now and September. That's all. So
okay, understood. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. What I'll do is I'll share this on the chat on the WhatsApp group so everybody has it. Okay, devotees, it's 9:45. Anybody else? Last minute questions, or we can go ahead. All right. So please do look after yourselves. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhye
Krishna